Hey everyone, today I wanted to go over the last of a five-part series related to lessons learned from history, how they pertain to not only investing and overall financial planning, but also just life. And today's lesson is that wounds heal, but scars last forever. So when you think about recessions, recessions heal. Okay, they're not scars. Recessions are just a part of a cyclical economic environment. Markets, they recover. So they are wounds, right? Businesses and people, for the most part, it's wounds. Past mistakes are forgotten. Hopefully you learn some lessons, but you also get over that pain that you once endured. But how many of you have a parent, a grandparent, or a loved one who to this day still hoards food because you never know? And obviously, this is because that person went through the Great Depression. And to this day, it impacts most, if not all, aspects of their life, all of their decision making. To this day, my grandma, who's 84 years old, Grandma Long, has a deep freezer in the basement that always has a ton of food in it. And it's been there for only God knows how long. And I remember one time I couldn't help but ask her, Grandma, why the heck do you have 3 dozen bagels from St. Louis Bread Company in there? And she just smiled and said, "You never know." Um, and I can't help but remember that she smiled, right? So she didn't obsess over it, but it was a part of her, what I believe to be her subconscious, that really impacted every facet of her life. And again, it's key that it did not consume her; it was just part of her. So the Great Depression was obviously a scar that has stayed with her and many from that generation their entire life. It changed their mindset around many things, not just one, not just about investing, not just about food. The idea that you never know how bad things will get impacted pretty much every decision of their life. So it's not uncommon for anyone who lived through the Great Depression to never invest in the stock market, even to this day. And to be honest, that's despite the fact that most Americans back then during the Great Depression, and when I say most, I mean, studies show and the history books show that at least 95% of citizens, everyday Americans, did not own a stock during the Great Depression, right? But yet to this day, most of them do not invest in the market. So I can't help but think about how much money they lost over their lifetime because they were scarred from an event that happened a long, long time ago. They invested in CDs. They kept the money in savings account, or maybe even they buried the money in a Maxwell coffee can in the backyard like good old cousin Eddie. Either way, so much money was lost because they could not get over their fear from an extreme event that happened a very long time ago. And the reality is because every time they looked at that statement, they saw the exact same amount of dollars as they saw before. Or if they ever dug out that Maxwell coffee can, they saw the same amount of dollar bills as were there whenever they put them in the can. They were actually losing money. They just didn't recognize it because CDs, cash, it does not combat inflation. So it's not just about the money that they lost in opportunity cost, but it's also literally the money that they lost. So we've all lived through 2008, and in 2008, which happened to be the third worst year ever for the stock market. Hopefully that wounded you, and it wasn't a scar. And if it wounded you, you remember the pain. You don't want to live through it again, but it also didn't change your confidence in the overall market. It didn't change many of your habits. I certainly hope it changed some of your habits if you were living beyond your means, but hopefully you're still enjoying life, and hopefully you don't live in this state of fear. And because you were only wounded, you were better off because you stayed the course. Your investments came back up and you were much better off for it. So, the lesson for today and what we're going through with this pandemic and this shutdown is when you think about it, are you going to allow this to scar you, or is it going to be a wound that heals? And that answering that question is really going to impact how you live your life going forward. Are you going to live in this constant state of fear indefinitely? Or are you going to remember this period, but also set it aside, have fun, and live your life? And I certainly hope that for all of you, that you view this period as a wound and you heal and you get back to living your best life. So I hope this finds you well, and I hope you have a great day.